she gets me even more. For those of you that don't know, Lacey and I have been friends for a few years now. She's born in February like I am. She's an Aquarius like I am. She does content creation. She's a creator and advocate just like I am. And another thing we unfortunately have in common is that we're both survivors of sexual assault. And that's the word we're using tonight, you guys. It's survivor, not victims. We are survivors. We survived the experience, and here we are, older, stronger, and better. Lacey's experience happened a little bit earlier for her in life, and mine's happened rather recently. Actually, today marks a year since the experience happened with me. Oh, wow. And that's the reason I decided to try to have this talk today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a few statistics, because I need you guys to know just how prevalent, unfortunately, sexual assault and rape is in our culture, our society, and our world. And that doesn't just affect women, it affects men as well, and even transgender individuals, okay? So I'm gonna drop a few facts and then we'll go into our discussion, all right? So, every 68 seconds, an American is raped or sexually assaulted. Women and girls experience sexual violence at high rates. As of 1998, 17.7 million American women have been victims of rape. 82% of juvenile victims are female. Females 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be raped. Women ages 18 to 24 who are college students are 3 more times likely to be raped. Being female alone, this is a really big one. Just being female makes you 75% more likely to be raped. Just being female. When it comes to men, 2.78 million men in the U.S. have been victims of attempted or completed rape. That's 3% of American men. That's 1 in 33 American men have been raped, and 1 out of every 10 rape victims worldwide are men. And if you're transgender, you have a higher rate of rape or sexual assault at 21% compared to cisgender people who, relatively speaking, are 18% when it comes to women and 4% when it comes to men.
But I think that an important thing to know about those numbers is that those numbers were computed based on the amount of people who actually come forward, and
right.
The number for men is actually a lot higher. It's just that a lot of boys don't realize they're being raped because we've somehow, as a society, we've made young boys feel like if grown women find them attractive, then it's like a badge of honor.
Absolutely.
Them actually being victims.
Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. We put a different double standard on women and girls as opposed to men and boys. But statutory rape is a form of rape. And that needs to be discussed. So Lacey, where I want to start off at is I want you to tell me about, your experiences, what happened, and kind of how you've dealt with them, how they've affected your life.
I'm actually in the small number of repeat victims, which is a thing, right? It's very weird, but sometimes people who have been victimized, it's like predators can sense that, which actually makes you like a target again. It's very weird. So the first time I experienced sexual assault, I was actually 6 when it began. I was 9 when it ended. My parents got divorced when I was 5. My mom met this very attractive, very charming, seemingly successful guy who wanted to take care of her and all of her 4 children. And for a Black woman, that's incredible because a lot of times when you have children, people just, So she dated this guy. He seemed great. Like, he really seemed great. But they were only together for a few months before he started doing like small things. Like, at first it was just have you ever been kissed before? Of course I haven't. I'm 6. So,
right.
No. As I'm playing Star Wars, I'm actively playing the video game Star Wars on like our Dreamcast, because there's my age. And he like locks the door. He locks me in the room. He locks the door. And he's super gentle. Like, I just want to kiss you. It's okay. I just want to kiss you. From there, it just, it only goes higher.
Lacey, are you there? I can't hear you. No. Say something else. I can't hear you. No volume. Hold on, you guys. Bear with us just one moment, okay, while we gather everything together. Can you hear me? I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so Lacey logged back out, y'all. She's gonna come back in. All right. You guys, please don't leave. I really want us to have this conversation. I really appreciate your support. By the way, you guys, if you are interested in topics like this and us doing more social work, please go ahead and purchase a badge. They're like 99 cents a piece. We'll be talking about rape and sexual assault. Me and Lacey are both victims of it. Survivors. And we're going to get through this. All right, she's coming back on in just a second, guys.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know that's a video. I got a call. But yeah, so it wasn't just me. It was multiple girls. I won't say who, for their privacy, but we actually, we told, or one girl told, and then she convinced the rest of us to tell when I was like 8, and he got arrested, and we went to therapy. It was just a huge thing. My dad went to the news. He really wanted to make sure this guy couldn't do this to anybody else. My mom got a restraining order, and then from there we moved out of state. It was just a lot for her to deal with. Anyways, I was raped in high school, and it was by a guy I was dating. So we were dating, and he was the only person who I had been intimate with, but I didn't like it. So I was like, I don't want to do this no more. But he felt like, I'm your boyfriend and we've already done it. So what's the problem? You just have to do it more and you'll like it. And I'm just like, no. No. I just was like, I don't like this. But he worked out. He played football. He was stronger than me. So he held me down and did what he did. So that was the thing. We ended up breaking up, obviously, and I didn't talk to him for a long time after. And then we're friends now, though. We were able to talk through it. He actually was a victim after he victimized me.
Wow.
And we bonded from there. And then I was raped in college. I started school in the spring instead of in the fall for my freshman year of college because I needed a break. My friends were already there, and so school started in winter in January. My birthday was 2 weeks later, so my friends were just like, hey, let's just throw you this big party. We were snowed in. I was like, all right. In high school I wasn't like one of those kids that drank or smoked, so they were like, we're gonna get you drunk. I was like, oh my god. And they did. They got me drunk. Just to have fun. It was just fun. Right. Some of my friends were like, yeah, they were upperclassmen, so they had an apartment off campus. Anyways, yeah, I passed out. I was drunk. I took that thing where you have to take 19 shots at 12 o'clock for your 19th birthday.
Yes, I've done that before.
That's what I did. And I passed the fuck out. And I woke up at maybe 5:30, maybe 6 a.m. It wasn't morning yet, but you could kind of see where the sun was starting to rise through the blinds. And I woke up and this guy who I did not know at all was on top of me doing his thing. I did the best I could to fight him off. It was just a weird situation. After that, though, so I didn't want to go to campus police because I just felt like it must be my fault that I'm constantly a victim of this. And I was just really embarrassed because I was so new to the school. I had a boyfriend at the time. So the next morning I told my friends what happened. I didn't know who the guy was. I could only describe him from what I could remember. Mm-hmm. They ended up figuring out that it was actually a football player at the school, he was a basketball player at the school, and he was my friend's neighbor.
Wow.
direct neighbor.
Wow.
And so they confronted him because they were guys. So they confronted him, you know, like threatening to like beat him up and all this stuff because I didn't want to go to campus police. From there, there were other people that were there, like other girls who had like slept over after the party.
Okay.
So those other girls knew what was happening because we all woke up there. They ended up kind of taking this around campus as a freshman lying about an upperclassman athlete.
Wow.
So it just became a really big thing at the school. The school was literally split in half. Like half of the school gave me dirty looks, called me a slut. There were people that like didn't even want to sit beside me in class, like guys that would like make comments like in the cafeteria, like, I would give you a compliment, but you might say I raped you.
Wow.
I was new to this school. Like, I was so new. I'd only been there for a couple of weeks. And then there was, like, the other half of the school that were like,
Did the school do anything to protect your rights?
No. So, because he was an athlete. Only thing that they told me, campus security told me that I just need to be more careful. And that if I didn't want to bump into him, don't go places where he might be. So the athletes used the same workout facility as the rest of the school, but they had like one half of it and we had like the other half of the gym or whatever. So basically campus police was like, find other ways to work out because they have to use these facilities. You don't have to use them. They're an option for you.
But you're paying your tuition just like they are.
Yeah. So I ended up leaving after that semester. My boyfriend broke up with me because he thought that I had made up rape allegations because I cheated on him. Like, it was a thing.
Let me first off, it's nothing that I can do now about it, but all I can say is apologize for the people that were surrounding you, especially in that latter situation, who failed. Because that was a complete failure. That was an institutional failure. That was a failure on the camp, people around you. That was a failure on your boyfriend's behalf at the time. Like, my thing is, unless it's proven that it didn't happen, it happened.
Yeah.
It happened. Lying about rape is so rare. You guys, I want you to understand this. They said 1 in every 42 women is lying about rape. 1 in every 42, which means that almost all the time they're telling the truth. And because it's somebody that they feel is valuable to the school, they want to disenfranchise a girl who was assaulted.
Yeah. These girls.
Man, you're right, Janine.
These girls had tried to like befriend me. And they were like, oh, come hang out or, you know, whatever, come with us. And so I was just like, okay, me and one of my friends. And we go with them. And they actually took me to his apartment. They left me there and he wanted to talk because he didn't want to get kicked out of school. He didn't want to lose his scholarship. And so he wanted me to like recant what happened. His excuse was, he thought I was pretty and nice. I guess at some point in the night, he did come to the party. And one of my friends introduced me. And I said, hi, I'm Lacey. It's my birthday. And from there, he took that as an end.
Let me tell you something. And this is something I had a conversation with my younger brother. We were watching the show. It was called Switched at Birth. And the girl in there, she had sex with a guy, but she wasn't sure if it was consensual or not because she was drunk. As a rule of thumb, don't have sex with anybody that's under the influence of anything. If they can't, in their right mind, say yes or no, don't do it. Period. And then for them to trick, that whole story is just mortifying to me. Like, my heart is like clenching right now. Yeah. Especially from a woman's perspective, you wouldn't think that another woman would put you in a position like that. But a lot of times, you know, they say, and studies prove, they say a lot of times the worst person for a woman to be around after she's been sexually assaulted or raped is another woman, because they're not there being very confident and secure in what did you do? Why did this happen? They're doing this because they're afraid. They want to know how they can avoid it. And if at any point in time where you have thought about this, because it's a reflection on all of us and not just on you, which is complete bullshit. Women as a gender are not a monolith. And no matter what happens, rape or sexual assault is not okay. Let's just be very clear about that. I don't care if it's the president of the school. I don't care if it's Joe Biden. I don't care if it's Barack Obama. If she says no, it's no. If he says no, it's no.
Yeah.
So fast forward. You're growing up, you're older, you've been in the military, you've seen the world. How has it affected you in your adult years?
Well, two things. Well, okay. So immediately after I spiraled, I felt so worthless. And I was already kind of like troubled, like I battled with like depression and like suicidal thoughts. So I was just like, I'm not in control of myself. My parents have lied to me my entire life. I felt like everything that I was doing, like all of the right things I was doing, were for nothing because I'm constantly still a victim. Like people still take advantage of me. And so I spiraled. I was like partying all the time. I was hooking up with whomever. I was drinking all the time. I was really reckless. Like after the fact, I felt like it doesn't matter if I try to be safe. Men are going to do what they want to do. So fuck it. I'm going to just stop caring about myself. And so I remember I would go to like frat parties and like purposely get drunk and pass out just because I was living so reckless. Luckily they never did anything to me. They really were like protectors, but I was so reckless at first. And then once I joined the military, I worked with Navy SEALs. I was like one of 3 women that worked on my base. I was maybe in the 1% of the women that actually worked with all of us, because females can support Navy SEALs, but they cannot be Navy SEALs. So I wasn't in like the regular Navy. I was in this really small, community. And by the time I got there, the men there were just so uplifting. They were so supportive. They were protectors. They were like family, like big brothers. Like I felt so safe there that I didn't feel like there was a threat, which made it more comfortable for me to really sit with myself. I didn't mess with none of them. I should have, y'all, because they made that movie that went, no, I'm kidding. But I never like messed with any of them or anything like that. But once I got there, honestly, I don't know. I think I was in a place where I just felt like, they're right. The military is right because they instill this value yourself thing. Preach it to you or whatever. And I really was like, I need to find value in myself, even if other people don't. And I just declared to myself, for myself, I won't ever be anyone's victim again. And I said it almost daily. I will not be anybody's victim. And from there, I just became like a beacon of strength for myself and for other women around me, without having to lose any of my own authentic essence or femininity, which I super appreciate. But then from there, I became even more feminine because I felt like there is strength in still being able to display yourself this way or in any of the ways I display myself, and you still cannot take advantage of me because I will not be your victim.
Absolutely. There's strength in femininity. I always tell people, my sisters will tell you this, I would say next to God, the most powerful thing in the universe is a woman. A man will surrender anything he can for that woman. Some woman he's related to, some woman he's trying to get into, some woman that he's enamored by. He will give it all up for them. And I commend you on surviving all of that. And from those young ages all the way up, from being a little girl all the way to being a young adult to being a grown woman. And then now I look and see you and you're so ferocious. I always notice your Facebook posts where you're saying, you know what, no. I'm a feminine woman, I'm a feminine girl, and I'm in this space, and I'm going to win. And you're not going to silence me. You're not going to tell me how I'm being. I'm going to let you know that you're being aggressive. You need to stop. And I love that about you. I do love that about you. You'll set the tone right there and say, hey, you're not somebody that's going to talk to me like that. This is how it's going to go, and this is what we need to do. And that's needed. Just because somebody looks a certain type of way, we don't need to devalue them, or we don't need to feel like there's not a thought inside their head. That's still a human being. And they deserve all the respect that we give them. And it's just so unfortunate that we're raised in a culture where, and I always tell people this, and this is in my family, we raise our guys and our girls, our little boys and girls the same way. You got to learn how to cook. You got to learn how to clean. You got to learn how to fight and defend yourself. If you're a girl, learn how to slay your own dragons. Nobody's coming to save you. Figure it out. Figure it out. But you need to take a karate class. I'm going to show you how to punch, just like I showed your brother how to punch. Yeah. These are all things. This is the world that we live in, you all. And it just sucks. Like, it just hearing that, so like, my chest was clenching. I was just like, I wish I knew her back then. I wish I was there so I can hit him in his fucking face. Yo, so all I heard is that you did this. And so I'm fighting you about it. Yeah. Because somebody should have been there to stand up for you and be like, no, this is not fucking okay. And that school should honestly be closed by now. I don't even want to say the name.
No.
The name.
Yeah.
Because I remember you told me one time what school it is. I won't even say the name. But yeah.
Schools always do. They always protect the institutions. I won't say school. I would say institutions in general always protect men because they are viewed as more of an asset than women.
Yeah.
And so, because they bring strength and they don't bring fertility.
And it's trash because the sports they typically participate in are the ones that make the school the money. But my thing is what about the overall reputation of the education that they're supposed to be getting? And then your reputation as being a safe place and space for all students, not just for them. For them to sit there and say that, oh, maybe you got to find another place to work out. My thing is, at the very bare minimum, you're paying your tuition just like they are. Yeah. You have a right to be in any space that you want to be in on that campus because you are paying your hard-earned ass money to be there. And for them to do that is just, that's a school that'll always be on my shit list. I don't even want to see the campus. It makes me itch just thinking about it now. And yeah. Somebody brought up in the comments, they said, let's talk about the topic where sometimes people are raped or sexually assaulted, and in response, they become more hypersexual. That is actually very true. Depression manifests itself in different ways, you guys. Some people, rape can bring about depression, and they're in the bedridden. They become hypersomatic, which is like super tired. They don't want to do anything. Or they can become hypersexual, and their way of coping with everything that's happening is taking control of their sexual life and doing it all on their terms. Yeah. And that's not uncommon. And in the process of them doing that, they can get the reputation from friend groups or circles, or if you're a girl, being labeled as promiscuous, or you're a hoe, and it kind of makes it worse for them because now they have a reputation and nobody wants to believe they've been raped. Well, you always doing this, you so fast, and you doing this. Maybe you forgot that you told him yes. No, I didn't forget. Just because I can have sex with 10 people in a day, if the 11th person I tell him no, no means fucking no. Let's just be real about that, y'all. N-O is a powerful word. It's finite. And it's required for you to listen to when somebody says that. No, you can't sit next to me. No, you can't come to my house. No, you can't have sex with me, and I don't want you to. Stop. You're making me uncomfortable. This isn't okay.
I'm going to tell you, I've never said this on a public platform. Actually, I did talk about, I did a podcast with Brandon where we talked about like sex and boundaries. And I have not released this podcast because of what I'm about to tell you. And I really had to sit with myself first, and then I sat with my wife, and it was like, okay, do I want to potentially harm my brand by saying this, or like, no? And for a long time, I was just like, no. But I'm going to tell you something that I think that we don't talk about enough because this is an important conversation.
Okay.
I sexually assaulted somebody, and I didn't even know it. Let me tell you what happened. So I was dating this guy, very cute Marine named Brandon. He was so fine. He was so fine, and he was so great. And I was like, this is going to be my husband. But he was celibate. And I wasn't. And I wasn't used to people, like, turning me down. Like, nobody turns me down, at that time or whatever. And we spent all of our time together. We really liked each other. But I really wanted to have sex with him. Like, I had, like, seen it in his, like, sweatpants, and I was like, I want this. But he kept saying, no, I'm celibate. And I didn't nobody talks about men in conjunction with sexual assault outside of just you guys being a victim to each other or predator, right?
Right.
So as a girl, nobody teaches you that when a boy says no, it's no. Nobody teaches you that.
Nobody teaches. They don't.
Right.
They don't.
So I remember I was like, this is just a challenge. It's just a challenge. I called my friends. Like, I was talking to my friends. Like, it's just a challenge. You know, my friends like, you gonna get him, girl. You gonna get, you know, whatever. He gonna vote. And so we went out one night, and we had a great time. And he wasn't much of a drinker. So I was like, oh, yes, my plan is just liquor him up, and then he'll give in, right? And I did. I liquored him up. The poor man could not stand anymore. And came over, or he was already there. He was already at the house. He couldn't really stand, so he was like, I'm just going to spend the night. And I was like, I know he wants it. He's spending the night. You know, I'm in my early 20s. You know, I'm just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was drunk. He couldn't really move. He wasn't like passed out or nothing, just really drunk. And I just remember like straddling him, and his body was like reacting. So in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, you know, he definitely wants this. Yeah. Like, yes, this is tonight is the night.
Real quick, for those of you that don't know, when it comes to men, the penis can naturally react to any form of stimulation, even if he's not necessarily attracted to said person or wants to have sex with said person.
Yes. No, I found this out after.
Yeah, your pants rubbing against you down. A breeze going through. If you're a virile man, it will do that. So, go ahead.
So, at the time, I was like, oh, he's reacting, so he definitely wants this. And, you know, I think that I'm, like, seducing him. Like, whole way, that's what I think I'm doing. And mm-hmm. I remember, like, trying to, like, just like grind and like kissing him, you know, whatever. Cause I'm thinking I'm seducing him. And so I pull it out and I'm already on top of him. I think I was wearing a dress that day. It was something that was easy access. Cause in my mind, I was like, today's the day, you know, I had shaved for this and everything. And then I just like did what I did, you know, on top of him. And the next day he woke up, he left. We were supposed to do something in the day or, you know, whatever. And so he left. And I'm calling him. He wasn't answering. So I'm like, what is happening? And he didn't call me for like a week and a half. He wasn't responding to anything. And then finally he calls me and he was like, yeah, so I don't want to deal with you anymore. I don't want to talk to you. You raped me. And I was like, girls can't rape boys. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yes, you did. And he's explaining it to me. And then from there, I remember, like, I was so, like, perplexed. And I was just like, no, no. I went to work that next Monday. And all of my coworkers are, you know, they're men. So I'm asking them, like, okay, guys, this is what happened. Can somebody explain to me if he uses this as like an excuse because he's ashamed because he was celibate? Like, what is happening? And it was crazy. Some of the guys in the conversation were like, yeah, he's just ashamed, or he just, you know, da da da. But then some of the guys were like, no, you have to still respect men. Like, to the point they got into an argument with themselves.
Right.
Yeah. He and I ended up talking a year later, and he was just kind of like, I'm sorry for how dramatic I was in my response. And I'm like, I'm sorry for, you know, my actions, because I thought I was, you know, making some shake. I didn't know. And he really educated me.
Well, I'm going to say this. I mean, that was hard. As your friend, that's hard for me to hear. I mean, especially you being a survivor of sexual assault. But a lot of times, they end up perpetuating that on someone else. And although I know you're not a malicious person, I can see that did hurt him. And wow, that did hurt him. And thank you for sharing that. You two were able to have a conversation about it much later on, but it brought up a much needed conversation between those two sections of guys where they're kind of like, no, that is a problem that she did. And the other was like, nah, he's just doing too much. And I mean, yes, you were definitely wrong in what you did. Let's just be very clear. I'm never going to excuse that. Like you said, to you, you said, oh, women can't rape men. And I'm going to tell you something. I've heard that before. I was in a class with psychology of women, and a woman in there said, she said, what are you talking about? Men don't turn down sex. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, no, I've turned down sex from girls before. I was like, I definitely have. Now, let me tell you, I'm interested in women. My last relationship was with a woman. Let's be very clear about that, y'all. I said, no, men do turn down sex with women. That definitely happens. They're like, no, if he don't, he either gay or he just can't get it up. Well, what if he's neither? And he's telling you no.
Yeah.
And if you continue to do that to him, then you have sex becoming rape. And let me be very clear about this, y'all. Rape does happen. As a matter of fact, just 2 years ago in Africa, they arrested 6 women who were going through South Africa and raping men. Grabbing the men, drugging them up, having sex with them, getting pregnant by them.
Oh, wow.
This is not unheard of. And let's think about how many times we know of older women who have forced themselves on younger men. R. Kelly talked about that happening to him with his older sister. Tyler Perry talked about it happening with 2 of his neighbors. Both of them were older women. I have a cousin, I'm not going to mention his name, who told me that his first time was when he was 9 years old, and the woman was 22. And I told him, I said, you understand that you were raped, man? He was like, no, I mean, I knew what I was doing. I said, no. At the age of 9, you have no right to get any consent.
Yep.
You were raped.
But
so women can rape men. They do rape men. It happens it might happen at a much less rate. And then it also goes underreported. It goes underreported. Yes. Because like I said, if you're a woman of a certain age and you are having sex with a young guy who cannot give consent, like adolescents, 12, 13, younger, anything younger than 16 in most states, that's a form of rape. It's statutory rape. And let's be very clear. And they're victims of that. That's what they become. And so
even manipulation.
It's manipulation. Thank you for sharing.
No, even manipulation with the conversation is can men rape their wives, right?
Absolutely.
But it's never flipped. Can women rape their husbands? And women who do want to have sex, but then they manipulate men like, why are you so tired? So you fucking somebody else? You don't want me? That, like, they make a big deal until a man caves in.
Or you sleep and you wake up and she's on top of you, straddling you, like
already
you said.
You know what I mean?
I told you I'm sick. I'm tired. I don't feel good. I don't want to do it. But it's happening. So let's be very clear about this, y'all. It happens to genders. It ain't just for women. It happens to men. It happens to women. It happens to people who are trans or non-binary. Rape and sexual assault is a human phenomenon that needs to stop. It is disgusting. And it is old as time.
Yeah.
It's completely disgusting. And so, like, when it comes to, my own situation, for me, you guys, I wasn't young when I was raped. As a matter of fact, the first time it happened to me, I'm 37 now. I was 35 then, and it happened in January of 2019, the first time it happened to me. I was actually dating a guy at the time, and at that time I was exploring my sexuality, and and pretty much he wanted to try something different, a little kinky, and the thing kinky that he wanted to try was like, handcuffing me down. Let's try that. So, we had did a few other things, I'm not a little public play, maybe I had a threesome or something like that. And I was like, okay, this was fun. Like, I'm exploring, I'm learning. Like, okay, I don't got to be such a prude. And so I remember one night he picked me up. He was like, we're going to go to my house. We don't need to be at your house tonight. We always at your house. Your roommate's here. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to deal with that. I want us to just have fun. So let's go to my house tonight. So I'm just like, okay, this is cool. This is my first time going to his house. This is going to be great. And so, went to his house, handcuffs, handcuffed me down. And we did it. And I'm thinking like, okay, great. This was dope. This was fun. This was amazing. This was wonderful. I loved it. And then I'm like, okay, well, gotta get up now, and then you take me back home because I gotta go to work tomorrow. He pretended like he didn't hear me. Yo, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Wait, let me get up. Pretended like he hear me. Left out the room. Came back 2 hours later. I'm thinking he playing too much. I done fell asleep. Come in, proceeds to have sex with me again. And I'm just kind of like, Okay, I'm not trying to do that right now. Let's go. Oh no, you're gonna do that. You guys, I was subsequently handcuffed down for 4 days. Um, he was going back and forth to work. He would come back. He would do stuff to me, put stuff inside of me. I was injured. I was hurt, soiling myself. He didn't care. He would clean me up. We would go through the whole process again. And then the only way I got loose, because I honestly don't know what would have happened to me. The only way I got loose is his roommate, who was a flight attendant, came home early from one of his trips. And he heard me in the room, like, screaming, disoriented. Y'all, I was literally living off of water and, like, chicken broth. That's what he was having me eat and drink. And so he came in, God let me loose, let me up. He had to literally go get, like, a little plier thing to kind of, like, loosen it off. And I still had the handcuffs, like, on my arms. And as a matter of fact, you can kind of see like the scar a little bit that I got from the handcuffs still right here on my arm. And I got loose. Of course, I called the police. The police came and I asked them what happened. I went through the whole process of having to go to the hospital to recover. They came in my room. They got my report and everything. And it ended up going to court. I didn't tell anybody because, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. Let me get you to understand something. I'm smaller now, but then, I was bigger. I was maybe 245, 250, 6 feet tall, tatted up. You know what I'm saying? Just had my Killmonger locks and everything going. And you don't think at that age, as a man, that rape is any problem for you, because I can walk anywhere safely, and most times, most men avoid trying to have any physical interaction with me. I fight like hell. But I got myself put in a no, I did not get myself in a vulnerable situation. I consented to something, and he took it too far, and then it became rape. So let me fix my language when it came to that. And like I said, we went to trial and everything, and because he was of a different race, and he never had any priors. And in the state of Georgia, a man legally can't rape another man. That's not in the books. It's called sexual battery, and it's called sodomy. And so because he had no priors, he was given probation. They told me that based on the text messages they saw, that it was consensual, and they could not tell that he did anything that I didn't want him to do, even though I was telling them. I had missed work for 3-4 days. No one had heard from me. Said roommate I was living with thought that I was on a trip somewhere.
That's crazy.
My family didn't know what was going on with me, and he got away with it. He's in Florida to this day. I keep tabs on him. He's in Florida to this day. He left. He got away with it. The second time it happened to me, unfortunately, was a year and a half later. It was actually today, from those of you I said this earlier, marks like the year since it happened to me. And this time it was with a friend. And this was a friend I had for for almost a year. I stayed away from trying to date, or if I did have sex, I was the person that was on top. I was in control of the situation. This is what we're not going to do. I was going to be at my house. I'm going to have these lights on. I got a gun up under my bed that you don't know about. I got bats by my door. I'm going to make sure my roommate's here, so if something go down, I was just that. I was like, I'm super cautious. But that got tiring for me. And I got tired of people labeling me as controlling and, no, I don't want to date you because you got this going on, you got that going on. So that's okay. So maybe it's time for me to try to heal and let my guard down, which I did. So flash forward, a friend of mine, a blast from the past, somebody who, we and him were really good friends. We were really, really good friends. And people were always like, you got to start off as a friendship before you get into a relationship. And I liked him, and he told me he liked me. I was like, I could see myself falling in love with you. He was like the same way. And so we proceeded to, start dating, and then we started having sex. And the first time, we had sex, I was just like, okay, well, this is cool. And he was like, well, let me try to be more vulnerable with me. Like, let me be in control this time. And I was just like, I don't know about that. Just don't do anything stupid. So, I remember, I got my little gun up under my bed. If he tries anything, I'm going to end his life. That's what I was thinking. And so, we have sex and whatnot, and it feels a little different while we're doing it. And I'm just kind of like, what in the world? I was like, oh, this is great. This feels really, really good. Come to find out, as he stopped, I go back to reach and look. He doesn't have any protection on. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh, well, I don't really like condoms very much. And, it's cool. No. And we proceeded to fight. I was pissed off. So, I went, cut him off completely. I went to the clinic like the next week to make sure everything was okay with me. I'm negative, you guys, to this day. Everything's fine with me. But when I got home that night, I watched this show on HBO Max, and well, it's not HBO Max, it's on HBO period. It's called I May Destroy You. I encourage all y'all to watch that. It's by Michaela Cole, and she addresses sexual assault and rape inside of there. And one of the subjects was if someone is having sex with you and they take the condom off while they're having sex with you, that's a form of rape.
Yeah.
And so here it was, I said, in less than 2 years, this has happened to me twice. And I completely blame myself for the second one. For a long time, I blamed myself for it. Probably all the way up until maybe like 3 months ago when I said no. I handed him a condom. I handed him what he needed for us to have a pleasurable experience. And he took advantage of that. He took advantage of that. So I did what I was supposed to do. And that messed me up. Because at the same time, you guys, I was filming a project. I'm not going to mention that project's name. It needs no bearing. But people got to see the absolute worst of me because I was emotionally dealing with that while trying to film something that's supposed to have been real. And when I revealed my secret on that said project, it was summarily cut to the floor because they didn't feel it fit. And I was just kind of like, well, some guy is out here going through this. You know, I actually talked about this on my good friend Imani Van Zap show, and the commentary I got back was, you know, mostly good, but I had some guys saying, well, how did you let that happen to you? You didn't try fighting. You should have been messing with white boys anyway. It was just a bad situation. I had to tell my family, and yeah, my father cried about it.
Yeah. Because even as an adult or an almost 40-year-old man, you're still his child, and he still wasn't there to protect you.
And that's exactly how he felt. That's exactly how he felt. I had to say that to my sisters, you know, telling my mom. You know, my mother, she didn't understand. For her, she's operating the way a lot of women operate. Well, how did this happen? Why did you let this happen? She was like, she was asking, she was being concerned, but she was asking those questions in the wrong way. You know, my sister at the time had to correct her and say, you know, Mom, no matter what position he put himself in, if he didn't want it to happen or he didn't give them permission to do a certain act, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And a lot of guys that I've learned in said communities, whether the cross-section, whether they're black or gay or whatever, get raped, sexually assaulted, sexually abused. And what you have to remember is, again, that's still a human being. Even though he's a man, you view men as being bigger, stronger, tougher. The biggest, strongest, toughest man in the world is still just a human being, and he might have a bigger, tougher, stronger man in the world than him. And people need people need that compassion. Because that's what we need. We need compassion. We need compassion, and we need education, and we need empathy, and we need to understand that we have to stop goddamn victim shaming, saying, "Oh, well, you did this," or "Well, maybe if you had to wait and walk in or jogging in the park that late at night." Or why would you go over here by yourself? It is absolutely fucking insane to me that a woman cannot be out at a certain time at night without people thinking that she's going to be raped.
That her thinking she's going to get raped.
That is crazy. She can't go take the trash out because you're afraid she's going to get raped. Or better yet, you don't teach your sons that there are some men out here who will jump over a woman's head to get to him. And that he needs to be cautious of his surroundings and not drink so much or smoke so much to where he's incapacitated, and even though he's just around his homeboys.
Yeah.
We always think it's somebody else's problem until it's our turn. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was one of those people. I used to be like, oh, the only time men get raped is they in prison. I ain't never going to prison. I'm too smart for that. That ain't never gonna be me. It was me twice in less than a year.
Yeah.
Twice.
So how has that affected your dating life, or has it affected your dating life?
So it took, how can I say this? It made me equate love and pain equally. That as long as I don't fall in love, as long as I don't feel anything for anybody, this won't happen again. And I became hypersexual. And I tell people, they say, oh, it was a whole phase that you're going through. I absolutely was for almost, from August? No, I didn't start having sex again until December. So from December of last year to maybe 2 months ago, that's just what I was on. I'm not trying to date you. I just want to freak. If you're trying to do that, we can do that. That's what I want to do. We're not in the night. We're not hanging out. We're not going on a date. We did that. I had to go to counseling out for quite some time to deal with this. And when I really started to heal was when I started saying, okay, I'm ready to date. I am ready to date on my terms. And I need to understand that every single person is not out to get me. I need to forgive myself first and foremost, and to realize I did not make this mistake in these situations. They were wrong. I survived it. I'm better for it. I'm working on myself. I'm thriving. I still have more work to do, but you know what? I'm still here to fucking do it. So I win, not you.
Period.
Not you.
Period.
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 And that's why you're a survivor. And it's important
right.
to do exactly what you're doing right now, and that's use your platform for education, and also to let other people know, especially men, that you're not alone in this and you shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Right. Those got me like tearing up a little bit. Like,
I know, I was like, oh my God, I hope you don't cry because, your girl's makeup will cry with you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me just a second, child.
It's okay.
Oh. Yeah, that was a lot. 2020 was a lot. Like, it was, And we're talking about the pandemic and stuff, but that was a lot. I have never had to be like so vulnerable, like my entire life, and to have that taken away from me, like y'all don't understand. I'm a very tough person, and somebody tried to take my strength away from me. I have to fight to take it back, and every single day I fight to keep people from taking my strength away from me. I don't care what people think about me anymore. I don't care what they think about me. It's about how I live and what I do and what my legacy is behind. My work will always speak for itself. Who I am will always speak for myself. And so that's why I do this right here, because somebody handed me the first piece of my life when all was going down and said, hey, it's going to be okay. And I want to hand the first piece of somebody's life back to them. Whoever is watching this, who's ever gone through this, and saying, if I can tell them, you're going to be okay. So that's why I started doing one-on-one. And coincidentally, you and Freshie were just at the helm of that, telling me, Mike, you got a platform, use it, talk about stuff, and that's what it is. Of course, I can do the celebrity news and gossip, but it's 10 billion other people on the planet doing the same thing, talking about that. But I want this, where I am, on my page, to be a personal space of safety. So that's why you don't see me going back and forth with people on social media about this show or that show, or who I know or who I'm friends with or who I'm not friends with, because honestly, y'all, it's all fucking trivial. I survived the worst thing that can possibly happen to somebody besides them being murdered, and I survived it. I've been through worse than you. That's fine. You can have that. I'm not afraid to walk away and make something way better. And that's just what it is. That's it.
I met you in March of 2019. And I remember, you guys don't know because y'all wasn't there, so I'm going to tell y'all. Mikey had really bad anxiety when I met him.
Very.
And he would have to just take a second. I'm sorry, you guys. Stay, have a good time, but I just need to take a second, right? Walk away, come back. Hey, are you okay? Oh, yeah, I'm good. Right? Oh, yeah, I'm good. And I didn't know what you were dealing with.
Right.
2019, and what you experienced. And I wouldn't have known because you were so private about your experiences. But I did notice your anxiety, and you had like a weird, at the time, to me, it seemed like a weird fear. And I remember talking to Kia one night when we were leaving your house because you used to have people over, but you were really particular with where they could go and if they could stay. Can they spend the night? They bringing other people over.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I remember a party that you had, and some people did bring people over that you didn't necessarily know, and you were trying to be cool, but you were not cool about it. You weren't mad, but it was a caution, your internal caution. And I didn't know where it stemmed from, to know that you were you were a victim of what you were a victim of and what you were having to go through, and you know, the whole court process, and knowing what you knew about how the law didn't protect you, just like, you know, school didn't protect me. That's to see you then and to know you now. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And let me tell you, I'm proud of you. You are always so vulnerable with me, which makes me be vulnerable to you. Like, I know whenever me and you get around each other, first she's like, oh my God, y'all two get together and y'all go talk. Like, me and you can talk endlessly, everything. And it's just a vibe that we have. I was like, she's fun. And she's open and inviting to me. And it just makes me be open and inviting to you. Because I think I remember one time you said, you know, I don't necessarily believe in astrology. You're like, listen, y'all, I'm an Aquarius. And right now, what you don't understand is I'm keeping this together, but I can burn all this shit down. I'm keeping it cute. Yeah, this is me right now. Oh my God, that is so me. I'm Aquarius too. You know, definitely. So you guys, I do want to say this though. All the proceeds, the money for tonight that we earn from the badges is definitely going to be going to I'm sorry, excuse me. I'll be finding oh, I'm still emotional. I will be finding a clinic or organization down here who deals with sexual assault and rape, and I'll be donating that money to them, whatever amounts you guys send. The badges are 99 cents, $1.99. And I also want to leave you guys with this number from the from RAINN, RAINN, which stands for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. A number you can reach out to them if you are a victim or you know somebody is 1-800-656-4673, or you can go to rainn.org. That's RAINN.org. You know, I really encourage y'all, if you've been through this, you know somebody's going through this, then talk to somebody to get some help. Yes, there are some issues you can work out within yourself, but it's nothing wrong with getting professional help from people who can help you get through this, whether it's a personal therapist or a support group, or if you have a spiritual advisor or a counselor, you need to do that. And I need y'all to understand something. And I'm going to say this very clearly, move a little bit closer when I say this. Your friends and your family are not licensed to help you deal with every single thing that you're going through emotionally. They're there to offer emotional support, but they cannot help you navigate through every single dark space of your life. And it's okay to say, I need greater and deeper help. Mom is mom, dad is dad, sis is sis, brother is brother, best friend is best friend. But they're not the licensed, trained, professional people to help you untether those knots. Don't be afraid to step inside somebody's office and say, hey, I'm falling apart. I need some fucking help. Because, oh my goodness, that's what I had to do. I had to literally step inside. I said, my life is falling apart and I need some fucking help. Okay? And it's you too, Lacey. I know you talked about possibly going to therapy. I saw your Facebook post where you talked about that. I encourage you to do it.
That's not because of this, though.
Let me tell you something. All that compounding, because that's what it was to me. It was what we just talked about tonight. It was parenting. It was being the super soldier of my family. When I tell you being Mary Jane is my life. I'm Mary Jane, Michael Jonvier, me. That's who I am for my family. All of that compounded nearly drove me mad. Plus trying to date, dealing with the knuckleheads here in fucking Atlanta and abroad, being body shamed. It was a lot. Dealing with that failed social experiment that we're not going to mention, it was a lot. It was a lot. So it's okay when you get overwhelmed. I definitely encourage you.
I became an advocate. I don't know, it's the thing I do. I don't know, I just started advocating for everything once I learned. But for me, I went to therapy as a kid. It didn't really help me with really anything for me personally. So as an adult, after I did what I did to that guy, it really was important for me to just get a grasp on my own life, you know, but also I was dealing with my own depression, right? So I actually became an advocate. The Navy sent me to school so that I could be a suicide interventionist. And then when I came back, I had a better understanding of not just myself and my own suicidal thoughts, but also how to help other people and see signs in other people that maybe you miss, because a lot of times you can only think for self. But then after that, they let me become a sexual assault advocate, and being able to understand sexual assault a little bit more, having to do the research, to give trainings and explain it to other people, making sure that I know the hotlines, and making sure that I'm able to educate people, not just when I'm giving group trainings, but individually, on sexual assault and what that means for you as a man, and what that could mean for another person as a woman, as far as you possibly being a predator, whether you meant to or not, or
Right.
you possibly being a victim, even if you thought you were taking all the precautions that they tell you to take. For me, that helped me better understand and get through what I was going through, so that I could stop blaming myself, and so that I didn't internalize the fact that I was at first the victim, and at the time and now and for forever, I'm going to be the survivor. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
I didn't do anything more or less than what I could have done, because if somebody's going to harm you, they're going to harm you. That's a decision that they make for themselves completely without your consent at all. That's why
Right.
you're the victim. And so, for some people, I definitely think therapy is super duper duper important. But also, even as a civilian, because I'm pretty sure we're talking to majority civilians, you can also become an advocate in your area, so that you
Right.
could better understand what you've gone through, but you can make it your point to help other people. So try to take that route as well, to find healing internally.
Amen, amen, amen. Lacey, I really want to encourage you to do that documentary that we're talking about with
Oh
rape and
yeah, for
sexual.
sure.
It needs
Sexual
to be
assault
done.
awareness month is in April, so I want to release it in April.
Listen, it happens every day, all day, so we need to get it done and get it out there to the public, because this is very important. Like, even though y'all, like I said, I'm healing. I'm very much so into my healing process. Every day ain't linear. Sometimes I circle back. Some days I feel like shit about it. But today I need to talk about it, because it's been a year since it's happened to me. And this is cathartic. I need to get this out. I definitely need it. And thank you for being my friend. I really want you to know I appreciate appreciate having you in my life. You are an amazing, amazing, powerful source of goodness in my life. And I'm glad we can have this conversation. We can be vulnerable with each other. I really
Always.
hope for you guys that are watching tonight that this one-on-one was able to, if it didn't help you or heal you, it puts you to a place of understanding that perhaps you should get some help. And I want y'all to stay tuned. I have more complex conversations and stuff like this coming up. Next week, my guest will be David J. Corrick and Fame 89. You guys know him from social media and stuff. And so we'll talk about that. One-on-one will be back next week on Monday and Tuesday with 2 new guests. Thank you, Lacey, for tuning in and joining me. And thank y'all for watching. I love you all. Be blessed. Have an amazing night.
Hi,
Peace.
thank you.
Love and light to y'all, too.